Oh, that is not what I'm... Hey everybody, welcome back to Roadside Nuggets. It's getting wobbly out there for everybody. Everyone's legs are shaking. Things are coming in hot. What are we gonna do, people? Stay centered and breathe. It's gonna be a fairly quick stream for today, probably about around like 45 minutes. Just got some quick things to roll out to all of y'all today, and some really awesome videos which I felt were gonna be pretty cool. And interesting enough, so I did do this before the stream started. However, stream wants to play games. So as I'm talking, I'm going to be setting up the videos that I'm going to be showing everyone. And so basically today is like the Angels is kind of wanted to like talk about one of the present moment issues everyone's currently going through, the collective experience everyone knows, the jab, and kind of just the experience that everyone is going through that's unique, really where everyone's lives, where everyone's living at. Geography, I guess, has a big thing to play into what country you exist in and just what the mandates are within that country or state or city. Even some of the cities have different ordinances that don't even follow the same way that the rest of the state goes. So it's just quite interesting. But anyway, yeah. Definitely today, let's have the conversation about the effects of how much, we talk so much about the news, and, what the news is putting out, who's saying what, who's being a whistleblower, and, quite frankly, it's like everyone needs to step up and be that. Everyone's a whistleblower. It's just no one wants to say anything. A lot of people know the truth. They just don't want to say anything. So it's like, it's a little different from like, oh, whistleblower, no one knew. No, a lot of people knew. People are just really clammed up and they don't want to say anything. They don't want to be put on the spot. They don't want to stick out, and these are the important conversations we have to have. Not even as individuals, but as a collective consciousness on this planet. These are the conversations and the things we need to go through and discuss, because a lot of them need to be reevaluated, cleared, rewritten completely, or just completely, dissolved. And we have to come up with a whole new process to replace that. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go off of what was already previously done. You see? So in order to get to that point, you got to talk about it. In order to get to that point, you got to look at it. There's no other way around it. There's no other way to fix any problem or reach a solution if you're going to avoid it. That's the number one thing the ego just wants to do, is stall time. Come up with justifications, excuses. Do the ring around a million different times instead of just getting to the point so we can move on. And it makes it so much simpler, yet there's this constant rambling on about just like making more problems out of drama. Instead of just figuring it out, it's just like, let's talk about it, okay? You'll figure out probably like 6 out of 10 things in this world. And that's a pretty good analogy. Can just be solved just through communication. Just through talking, because there's so much assumptions, there's so much projection and things that go out that people don't quite understand. They're only left with their own, individual thoughts, their own experiences, their own egos that, yes, are a part of every single, experience, And so these are the things we have to look at. We can't constantly keep externalizing and projecting and pointing fingers outside ourselves. It's not going to help anybody at this point. Don't you realize? And this point that I'm making here right now too it's so valid, because some of the videos I'm going to show you is like, people are awake. They are saying things. They are talking. They are completely stepping up, and that's not the problem. The problem is not the people that are finally getting their balls and doing something about it. The problem is the people that are watching this happen and they're still not doing anything. They're still not saying anything. They're still not standing up and accepting, yes, this is true reality, and you know what? I'm quite done with this. Let's clear it up. No. They want someone to pull all the reins. Humanity has been so docilely suppressed, into where, conformity is like this, just the norm, And so nobody feels like an individual in this unique, free country, which is quite astonishing. A country that's free, yet nobody really wants to be an individual. We want to be like the sheep. What's that going to accomplish? What's that going to achieve? Honestly, answer me this, and definitely, we need to start supporting. If you can't stand out on your own and voice your truth, at least support. At least hold space. Okay? And that doesn't mean stay there forever. No, you are still responsible for expanding past that point. That's only temporarily. Yes, if there's truth and awareness and love and support it. Yes, support it. That does not mean just stay there as a supporter and that's all you're good for. And that's all you're going to write yourself off as. No, step up. You are more than just support. You are a leader. You are a divine energetic master. You are here for purposes so much more beyond that. Yet the small window view is quite overwhelming for everyone at this point because they can't squeeze the truth through it. Yet they want to live their whole life peeking through this little hole in their life and saying, oh yeah, I'm living life. No, you're not. You're not. You're trying to play it safe and downplay and hide from the rest of the world and your problems. And it's not going to really help you. That's not how we love ourselves. That's not how we figure it out and find a solution. That's not how we arrive somewhere after a journey. It's called sticking to the sidelines and not moving at all. And just praying that it just somehow ends. What is that good for at all? Is that what you would tell somebody to do? Or would you give someone better advice than that? Yet, it doesn't stop you from following that very poor discernment. Yet so many people would choose that. The easy way out, the lazy, half-ass action choice for themselves, but for somebody else, they'll jump over the moon for it. They'll try to accomplish miracles. It's like, why can't you give that to yourself? What's wrong with you? How did you get this disassociated where other people matter more than yourself when it's your physical body that's doing all the loving? It's like, somebody, please clear this up for me. And I was stuck in it too. You can't understand dysfunction. You can't. You can't reason with it. You can't come to a clear base understanding with it. It's pure dysfunction. It's meant to be corrupt. It's meant to deform anything that's true and perfect and beautiful and love. And contort it to something else that's entirely unnatural. That's not in the design or the alignment of our Creator, which is pure unconditional love. So we have a choice to make, humanity, in a lot of ways, to where are we going to start listening to the people who are saying the things that are true? Are we going to start supporting the things that we actually agree with in life? This is not about sitting on the sidelines, sitting on the couch every single day, and like it's like a panel board debate where you get to pop popcorn and have a drink with your spouse or your buddies and talk about the news and joke and be sarcastic and bitch about the news and get mad and triggered and everything like that and have a good time over it. This is not meant to be entertainment. The suffering of humanity is not meant to be entertainment. Since when did it get to the point when it was, we gotta make the 9 o'clock news? I don't want to see that shit. I don't want to see the fear-mongering and the crap they try to stuff down the collective's throat every single day. When it's so easy to go on the internet, when it's so easy to talk to somebody and understand things from a deeper perspective, instead of taking everything from a glance, from a skim across a few lines on the internet and say that you know something. Humanity, we got to get to a clear place where we actually understand what we are living through. That's the only way you're going to be able to resolve any of it and clear it, is if you actually know what you're working with. If you're going to spend your life in denial, you don't know exactly what is tampering with your experience, to cause pain and suffering. The delusion is blocking you from the awareness. And if you can't see it, you can't stop it. That's the come to Jesus moment we got to have with ourselves. It's not about being brutal and harsh and self-critical with ourselves. No, it's about being just real. And real can be just as gentle, just as kind, just as compassionate and patient. Real can be that. Real doesn't have to be this bomb going off every second making you feel like you're just done. You're broken. Damaged goods. You're not good for nothing. Why are you still here? It doesn't have to be like that every time. It can be gentle and slow and patient and nurturing. Because you got to go through the same experience everyone else is going through, even though it's different and unique. Everyone's got to make it. Right? So drop the requirements, drop the rules and the regulations and the policies and the things that you made up in your mind that you had to live by, that life just simply does not flow through. Life evolves so much beyond that, and it does not fit into that template, that controlled box you put in your mind of how this is supposed to work out for you or for anybody else. You got to let it all go. And you got to look at things that have already been put into your experience and ask yourself, why is that there? Why is this going on? Why is humanity going through this experience? Why is it part of my reality? Why am I being affected by this? What is actually going on? Until these things actually matter to you at all, you're going to keep going on this broken record every single day, wondering why your life is the way it is, but yet you feel completely helpless, like you have no ability to turn it around, make a change, a choice, anything. You're completely just plugged into something that's completely self-generating, and it's just driving you down the slope of a mountain. A lot of people feel like that. But it truly just takes a choice before you pull yourself back and be like, no, I've been doing this for a while. I've been suffering for a while. Do I really want to let myself just go into this, like this? Go out like this? Like just, this would be my experience the entire time? When I ascend this physical planet, and we all look back at our last moments on this physical planet in 3D, what will we see? How will we see ourselves acting in these moments? Has anyone even stopped to even envision that for a moment? Imagine that. This place we are all striving for. On our way, on a grandest journey ever for humanity in billions and billions of years. The greatest mission all of creation has supported and pushed this far to this point. When we finally arrive there, this prophesied, destined place that God has restored and made place for us to come to, this home that we are a part of, when we arrive there and we look back at these moments of how we picked ourselves up, how we fought for the truth, how we stood up for our soul, and what human means to us, not what someone taught us in school, what will we feel? And what will we see in ourselves and in everyone else? See, these are the things that I kind of feel into a lot of times. And like, when I look back on this, there's no linear time, but you will have memories from everything. And the memories I will have, I ask myself all the time, honestly, would this bring me joy? Would this bring some form of comfort or warmth or some sense of success or achievement or purpose or fulfillment to me? You know, when I reach this point, will it answer something for me? Will it bring something into the forefront of my experience that will finally, bring a realization to me? You know, something I've been seeking, something I've been wondering about, something I've been trying to answer, all these different things. But it's a real question, is a lot of people don't even ask themselves about, the question like, if I get to heaven, when we get to heaven, and this is where I'll take what I just shared just now as like a kind of like a multidimensional perspective, and I'll downsize that to where people still stuck in religion, they don't even contemplate and wonder into these things. They don't even ask themselves these questions. When I finally get to heaven, and I look back at these moments, when I look back at everything that's gone on, that's transpired, that I have done, how will I feel? When I look back at these things, what will I say? And I don't feel this is something there's definitely no past, future, and all this, but we all have memories. And you're always going to have the memories of your experiences. So therefore, it's not about going past or future. When you look back on yourself in these moments, before we finally ascend and make this jump, what would your last moments of humanity actually be like? How did you treat that experience? Knowing that mom was physically here in this experience, helping us get there. What would that mean to you? What would that change for you to see that in yourself or for other people? How do you see humanity now after all that? Has it ever occurred to you that maybe things have changed so deep within your consciousness in just the way you see things, you haven't slowed down to ask yourself these questions to realize you might have a different answer now? than you ever had before. But you won't know until you ask yourself, until you face yourself, and then you come to the realization that it is different. You do feel different. You do think very differently now. It's not the same. And that's your joy in letting that go now, because it is old, it's outused, it does not benefit you in your experience at all. But if you choose to sit there and play this charade with yourself and be in fear and not attempt to look at these things inside or face yourself, you won't even see that so much of it isn't even real anymore. Even if it was real at one point, it's now not. Most of it's just a ghost in your closet that you've been sitting on your bed so afraid of opening that closet just to show yourself it's not real anymore. And that's the inner child that's just scared from life and from the trauma and everything that everyone's been through, to where we just got to break out of this box. Be real with yourself. Express how you feel, where you are right now. What is bothering you? What's a problem? What's an issue? So we can just get this off the table, right? We talk about the table a lot. And the table is what everyone keeps constantly congesting all the time with bullshit. And then they sit at the table so overwhelmed because they don't want to deal with it. And that's exactly why. Why overload yourself? Why put yourself through that experience if you don't want to deal with it in the first place? We don't see how we sabotage ourselves. We don't see how we put more work in front of ourselves to do, when it could be easier, more enjoyable, more high vibrational, more enlightening. It could feel more freer. But if you want yourself to feel suppressed and chained and overwhelmed and loaded and feel like a slave, then you can definitely have that experience if you want it for yourself. You don't have to. It's not in God's will to, but it's up to you, you know? And this is the same thing with like COVID. And I had an interesting conversation because I understand now, you know, definitely there's a lot of people who, you know, they have to still work, you know, in certain environments that still do enforce, you know, the jab, you know, vaccinations. I'm not gonna say the name because they're probably censored, but you know, just with being aware of that fact, you know, and just being, you know, very aware that, you know, definitely this is a concern for a lot of people, their health, their well-being, just what this is gonna do, how it's gonna affect them. And as I shared with someone before, you know, these, you know, in jabs, you know, if you are doing your internal transformation in your work, if you are getting your sessions done, if you are continuing to put mom first and focusing on mom and this mission, love, the whole planetary ascension, everything that's really going on, the most important thing of all, if that is your focus, you are of the highest to be supported in this reality. Honestly, mom will be there to support you. You know, it's the beings that do not care, the beings that are getting in the way, that are purposely, intentionally trying to sabotage this planetary ascension. Those are the beings the energy is not going to be as gentle with, you know, just, you know, clearly speaking. But however, with the experience that everyone's going through, you know, as long as you are sticking to mom and put mom first, you know, you are supporting mom, she'll support you. That's how equal energy exchange works. And God is the most 100% in integrity with equal energy exchange. So you put her first and support her, she'll put you first and support you. You know, it's an equal energy exchange. I don't know how much more clear to explain it to everybody, you know, but even with this experience, if you do have to go through that experience for sake of your job, financial means, or supporting your family, just until you figure out a different idea or a different plan, you know, it's okay. You know, reach out to us, communicate, let us know, hey, I'm getting this, hey, this is happening, I don't know if I have a choice really at this point, I might have to just surrender to this experience. We completely understand. And we'll help you the best that we can to the experience, but to sit there in fear that it's all a downhill battle, or it's over, you know, or you feel like it's going to backfire on you. Nobody on this planet has more power than God. Nobody on this planet has more power than what God commands every single moment, ding. Period. Right? So unless you give those kinds of things power, unless you give it so much focus, attention, and thought, and fear, it has no power over you. It can affect your body. You know, especially for the beings who have been with mom and this team for, you know, long moments having sessions, your vibration and your consciousness is so high at this point, and as long as you are doing your disciplines and practices and maintaining that, you're going to sustain that. Therefore, anything lower vibration, lower frequency, especially like the jab, it's going to have very minimal effects, if anything at all, to your experience, you know? And, you know, go through the experience, boom, all right, leaving, back to mom, you know? Mom's always first, don't worry about it, and mom's got you. That's how the energy works here, you know? Only when you let go of God's hand, and then you start spinning in fear, like, oh my God, this happened, and this is going to happen now, and I might die, and all that. Like, no, mom's not there. Mom's not there with you, okay? Because none of that's real. That's not true. You have to accept and allow yourself to stay in true reality so mom can be there with you. That's what true surrender is. Even if you don't know, even if you don't feel confident, even if you don't feel trusting, even if you don't feel like you can, you know, surrender to it, do it anyways. God is right there, right? Only when you put up a fight, a wall, resistance, when you try to go your own way, based off of your own survival mode, that's where you end up getting into deeper mud. You know, and so definitely, I say to everyone who has to go through that experience, who has to deal with that, even though we all know it's bullshit, we know there's a bigger picture to it that's unraveling for, you know, the greater, you know, experience of the collective. Still, in these moments, we still have to be compassionate towards the people that are going through this experience, that, you know, in a lot of ways don't have a choice, really. They contracted for it. You know, so whether it's by means of you have a job and you have to get it in order to, you know, keep your job and all those different things, utmost highest compassion for you, you know, and definitely a lot of love, you know, for you going through that experience, definitely from mom and everybody here. And it's still important, you know, to feel into, okay, well, if someone is going to go through the experience anyways, you know, put yourself in their shoes, okay? Feel into their experience of having to go through that, even regardless of how everyone else feels about it, what everyone else is saying about it, there's still people going through the experience of what that's doing. So it's definitely, it's not a two-sided thing, it's really a whole. You know, it's just people are used to picking a side and sticking with it, not really being flexible and being, you know, fluid in that perspective. So which, you know, this helps a lot of people. So, you know, definitely, I have some really good videos of, like, this definitely is a woman. She's saying quite a bit, but I have like a really, really cool video. I was so, like, my smile was probably like back to my ears. I was sitting here listening to this little girl just go at these people, and this little beautiful precious little girl is just completely dropping codes and just like laying it on them thick. And I'm just so grateful for Mom's Crystal Children coming online. And, you know, it's like, it's so simple, and the way she says it, it's like, it's so bomb. I'm so grateful. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna let y'all enjoy this video real quick, and I will be right. Uh-oh, I pressed the wrong button. There we go.
Patrick, thank you for being here. My name's Shannon Eckelberger. I am a nurse. I also taught at Shasta High School for about 7 years and kind of wanted to go help with COVID when everything went down. I actually believed it for a moment, thought we were all going to get real sick because I was scared of Ebola, right? That scared me. And when we didn't close the border, I thought, wow, that's crazy. And then we get COVID-19 and I'm thinking it's got to be worse than Ebola. So I went out to go help in the community. I started doing the swabbing. It started to come to me. I think anybody at the school board meeting already heard this, but it's not right. Why are we doing testing on people who are completely asymptomatic for absolutely no reason? We've never done this before. And at first I thought, okay, well, maybe we really do need these tests. But then I started to look around me after about the year mark and realized, where's the dead bodies? Right. Yep. Where are they? Where's the people in the street? And I would ask people I know, do you know anyone who died? I don't. I actually know no one. My kids do know someone whose grandparents passed away, but grandparents do pass away. And I'm not saying people aren't dying of whatever this is. I know that they are. But I also know that our hospitals are not giving treatments that people should be allowed to have. So I would like to know, when this is all over, the treatments that could have saved someone's life that may not be approved for that, but nor is the COVID vaccine, are not given. Is it murder? I feel it is. The other thing is this. I was on the CDC's website because someone mentioned this to me and I didn't want to believe it. But this, you may know this, Patrick. I don't know if you do, but for the Centers for Disease Control, they have COVID-19 Project Shielding. Have you heard of that? Yeah. I don't know if you in the community or the nurses have heard it. It's COVID camp. And it says that they have the right, I am not kidding you, you go right on the CDC's website and you look up shielding. They are going to shield the people who are most at risk. It says people probably, it doesn't define at risk. Elderly people, anyone with disabilities, they can be removed from their families. They can be taken out for up to 6 months or longer if they deem necessary. This is not a joke. There are COVID camps, and I just told my kids, they don't want to believe me, Mom's a conspiracy theorist. I said it's on the CDC's website. If anybody asks my children, have you and your family been vaccinated? I said to tell them yes, and get the hell out of there. And if anybody starts asking me to get on buses or trains, you go nowhere with anybody. If anybody from the government comes and says, we're going to help you, we're going to shield you from COVID, you run. And they are coming for us, Patrick. And I know that you probably, did you know about Project Shielding? Have they discussed it? Have they discussed what they will do in Shasta County with that project? Okay. So they are hiring for people to work that. And so what will happen, I don't know, you guys, but this has to open our eyes. We don't get on buses. We don't get on trains. We don't go with the government anywhere. And I'm really sorry this is happening. I'm glad people are waking up. I hope the rest of the world wakes up. Whether, like you said, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican. There's something not right. And I just want you guys to have your eyes open to that project. Thank you.
Yo, and I was like nuts, you know, and like the fact that they even put this out there to where like they're blatantly and I know the CDC like has done this for years and years. I noticed it like over like 10 years ago where like natural disasters clearly were coming, or even before they were even like announced on mainstream television through the news broadcast. You know, the CDC was already putting out these different forms and updates about, you know, population, you know, predicted population loss, you know, the death toll, how many people they think are going to go, all these different things of what they, you know, and that's normal. That's been around for a moment, yet no one talks about it. No one actually expresses that this could be very easily found online very quickly. You know, but on mainstream television, they twist and contort so much of it into something that's not even the real story. It's not even the truth anymore. You know, and this is something that's so, it's crazy. But online, you know, the fact that they're even showing you now that they're actually hiring people for COVID camps, it's like, this is like, are people so far gone to the point where they just see and click, or are they actually reading what they're actually looking at? It's like, holy shit, like, what is this? How do we even get to this point? Everyone knows what concentration camps are, so COVID camps is like, somebody stop me. You know, like there's got to be, you know, a click in the circuitry in people's brains where it goes, okay, we've hit something. Like this cannot go further than this, because we know from, you know, quote unquote history and everything that we've told ourselves, even the lies through histories, still in context though, should definitely ring some bells for people at this point if we're going to repeat the same old stupid stories that we've told ourselves that we've done already. It's like telling someone about their lie or like the worst decision they ever did in their life. People don't feel good about that when you say that, right? So it's like sitting there and telling someone we're going to do it the same way again, the same way around. It's like, you've got to be absolutely insane, you know? So like really we've got to pull back and really wake up and realize that everybody is not playing the game anymore. People have woken up. They're not stupid, you know, but it's like you got to get a voice. You got to say something. Stand up on your own two legs. Get your rainbow balls, men and women. That's coming from God, and God is a woman, and she's got the biggest balls in the multi-universes, and she has said, get your rainbow balls, talking to her daughters and her sons. So let's not get offended and take it personal and get triggered. It's just the actual fact that everyone has got to get their passion going. You got to get your confidence, get your empowerment. You got to stand up and actually push energy through something. Quit being timid. Quit being anxious. Quit being doubtful of yourself, because nothing can come through you if you're not being open and vulnerable to the energy, right? You got to trust so much in Mom. And it's not like you're going to get a whole manual pamphlet, you know, layout of the whole plan before she sends the energy to you. You're going to be caught midstream in the experience like, oh, you better surrender, because Mom's got it already planned out and worked out. If you sit there and doubt her, you distrust God, it's all going to hit a steamboat wall. And then you're like, oh, well, whose fault is it? It's completely your responsibility. You know, We have to completely surrender as fast as possible when mom sends this energy through, because she's already got the highest timeline. She already knows how this is going to play out. You have to get out of her way and allow the director to direct the show, okay? Nowhere in this, when everyone got their lines, did it say interrupt the director, interfere with the director's directing, and make up your own lines. No. And actually, in so many words, that's exactly what mom said to us so many times. It's just like, I'm the director, you have your lines, be in your role, okay? Participate, do your role, quit stepping on my toes. You know, and it was so multidimensional, the way and how she even said that, because it's so true. Quit trying to step on God's toes. You don't feel God's aware of all the pain and suffering down here. You don't feel God's aware of all the bullshit that's going on. Even now, today, at this point, on this time, what you've dealt with at work, God is already aware. She's already had the documents sent across her desk. She already signed off on it. Okay? This constant carrying on about the drama and the things and the complaining and all this crap, it's not going to get you anywhere. God already came here, lived it, experienced it, and then she left it. Okay? So let's move past this and focus on what we actually want to build, co-create, what we want to support and move forward, co-creating with each other and God. You know, that's where the energy needs to start going and turning around to, not constantly just moving deeper and actually that pings me for this other thing I want to share. I'm just going to switch this picture over. This is another thing, and I have no idea why this became a thing this morning when I saw this online, but I'll read out for y'all that can't see it. So it's for, I guess it's at Walmart for $1.24. So like, blue baskets are meant for kids with autism that cannot communicate with others. So if someone knocks and doesn't say trick or treat, don't take it as them being rude or weird. They deserve to enjoy Halloween like everyone else. Okay, absolute bullshit. One, and I'm going to take it back to the picture. Let's pick this apart, okay? So one, you want to tell them that they want everyone to have, they want people with autism to have a regular Halloween like everybody else. Yet you are constantly, you're going to classify them now with blue Halloween baskets that they have to have, they're autistic, and this is for everyone to know that they're autistic, basically pointing them out, making them stick out even more. You know, it's like, if a kid doesn't say trick or treat to you, what, you're not going to give them candy? Like, what kind of country do we actually live in at this point where we have to separate and categorize and label everything down to so much to the point where it's so painful to even participate in a group experience together with everyone? Because it's like, this is not joy, this is not happiness. You say one thing, saying you're promoting and supporting one thing, yet the actions that are being taken are not the same. Hypocrisy, manipulation, deception. Okay? So let's go back into this again. So not only are we pointing out these kids that are autistic by making them have blue Halloween baskets now, you know. Now at the same point, it's like this gives them an excuse, a justification to create another class, or even further to support another class they've created already about autistic kids, you know, and their children, not kids. Thank you, angels. And to support this is just to further make them autistic, make them that, like they can't be anything else. Oh, that child's autistic. I'm pretty sure that child has a name. I'm pretty sure that child has an age. I'm pretty sure that child has a dream, wishes, things they can create, a whole passion of their own that's completely unlike every other child. They're more than just autistic. Okay? So this dumb, diminishing, condescending energy that people in unconsciousness think that they are supporting things in a good intentions, which they're not. They're completely disassociated, and they allow these things to constantly pick out people, especially children. This doesn't make children feel any better.